into our scripture of the week related to sports right here on 4th and 10. This is a clip you can check out each and every week on our Church on the Rock YouTube page. Thank you to my sister who posts all these various clips and all these devotions that we do here on Church on the Rock Radio. And I'm glad and happy for that. And today, if you're listening to this clip, if you happen to be over there, you can check out 4th and 10. We're on every single Wednesday streaming on Facebook Live under my Facebook page or Church on the Rock or Core Radio Facebook page. We're also on livestream.com/Core Radio. You click on that 4th and 10 logo and you can join us every single Wednesday. If for happen you can't be there on a Wednesday morning live, you can actually go on livestream.com/Core Radio and you can watch it on your own time and click on it. If they say you wanted to watch it tonight, you could watch it tonight or go back and watch parts you missed or whatever. But I'm going to talk about today having a good attitude. All right. Everyone have a good attitude. This is something I focus on a lot, not only to be a light in the darkness and how important it is to good attitude, but it's important that I have a good attitude in my job, because if I don't have a good attitude, it's going to rub on to the guys that I work with. So I always have to try my best 95% of the time or more to have a good attitude, because my attitude will directly affect my job. My job is working with guys with special needs and different things that I try to take, where I take them out to community one-on-one. I help them grow and do goals and stuff. And if my attitude isn't good, most of my guys will be affected by that. They're gonna start having a bad attitude. But if I can stay good and positive and be all light and shiny, it's gonna help them to stay positive. And like when I have sometimes they'll come right in the car and they'll be all negative and have it's been terrible and this and I immediately got to change the atmosphere. So it's important. I mean, obviously it's important for all of us, but I'm just saying in the perspective of where I come from, it's critical having a good attitude in life.
Yes.
And we're going to use a scripture. Our scripture of the week we're going to use today is Philippians 2, verses 14 and 15, which says, "Do everything without grumbling or arguing," some versions say complaining, "so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation." I love that description. That's for sure. We are in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky. So in order for us to be seen and to shine the light of Jesus, we have to have the right attitude. Doing things without grumbling and complaining. It is so easy to start complaining or grumbling about something, isn't it? I think one of the hardest areas for me, because I'm so used to like having a good attitude and doing things in my job, but one of the hardest things to me is when I'm watching my sports teams not grumbling or complaining. And I've done it. We've all done it. Like, oh man, I was doing the first half of Buffalo. I'm like, what the heck kind of team? What the heck is this? Like, what is wrong with Josh Allen? Why are we not playing like we can play? This is terrible. I'm grumbling and arguing and complaining, and Dad can testify to that. The second half, like, now this is the team. Where was this in the first half? This is better. This is whatever. It was hard not to grumble or complain or argue about what I saw on the football field. But, attitude is everything. It's a matter of perspective. Having a good perspective is so important. I believe that more than any other thing, our attitude is what determines the kind of life we're going to have. If you're looking at things half empty in a negative perspective all the time, you're not going to be happy with your life. But if you're looking at things with a positive mindset, an open mind, and an open, positive atmosphere, it's going to help you to be effective in your life. It's especially important to maintain a positive attitude because God is positive. And when we are positive, it releases Him to work in our lives. You know, it gives God an opportunity to use us, whether we have a positive attitude. He can't use somebody. Have you ever been around somebody that's constantly negative and complaining? They're not very fun to be around, are they? If you're constantly, that's not fun. Being positive was an area in our life that can be hard, but and God may have to help you with. It's hard sometimes to people talk about it being hard to lose weight and to do different things, and I believe it definitely is hard. But it's also extremely hard if you came from a negative background and being a negative person to change yourself to a positive person. That's not easy. Sometimes your thoughts are all negatives. Your words, therefore, will transition in your life. But when you really begin to study the Word and trust God to restore you, one of the first things He will show you was that negativity has to go. If you're going to be an effective light in the darkness to people, if you're going to be an effective example of Christianity and Jesus, as you study the Word, it's important that you have a positive perspective and have a good attitude. I believe that when we maintain a positive attitude, God takes the thing the enemy means for our harm and He works them out for our good, as it says in Romans 8:28.
For good.
The enemy's plan was to use negative things to try to influence us to have a negative attitude and negative thoughts, to try to bring things in our life that are going to cause us to get upset. Not having a positive attitude not only takes the limits off of what God can do in and through us, it also helps us see circumstances from God's perspective instead of our perspective. It enables us to enjoy our everyday lives. Even when we get some bad news, we can look at it. We can look at it in a better perspective. I'll give you an example. And again, a sports example. This is, again, related to sports. My dad can testify. I actually did this before I thought the Mets were going to lose to the Brewers, but then at the Dodgers game, I come in during the Dodgers game. I'm not that I'm expecting the worst, but I know that it was an uphill battle for the Mets to beat the Dodgers. I really believe the Dodgers deserved it better. The Dodgers are a better team. Yeah. We were overachievers. I said, I am not going to let the Mets losing tonight ruin my night. I'm not going to let it ruin my night. I am going to look at this with a glass half full,
as a victory,
as a victory of how good we weren't supposed to be here. Nobody thought we would be here. We fought our butts off. We overachieved. We went into Philadelphia and we won a series when we were not even the home field advantage against the Philadelphia. We had our back against the wall in the ninth inning in the Brewers, where Pete Alonso hit a 3-run homer to even get us to it. I'm happy to be where we're at now. That's not like it's saying like, if you're the team, of course you want to win the whole thing. But Cleveland lost on Saturday night. So if you had told me the Mets would finish in the top 3 in baseball of 30-something teams, I would take that. Yeah. So it's a perspective. Am I going to get the perspective of, the Mets fell the other day, just didn't get it done, they're terrible? I mean, you see this whole thing. Gosh, I love Syracuse fans, and I love Syracuse football fans, and I love Ohio. I like Ohio State people, but the reason I start with that is I see them as examples of people that overreact. Syracuse football loses one game and nobody want, and all of a sudden the bandwagon's over. Mm-hmm. People wanted to jump off the bandwagon after Stanford. Now they won a few games, and now people are starting to talk to Syracuse again. But the second we lose, then there's going to be a whole bunch of people like, Syracuse, same old Syracuse. They're not good. Again, that negative perspective. Instead of looking at it, we won 5 games. We won 2 straight games in a row. We haven't done that since 2001 or something. We got a chance to play Pittsburgh. We're going to get into that shortly here. Having a positive attitude. It's all a matter of perspective. For Ohio State fans, they lose to Michigan and they think the world has come to an end.
That's true.
It's not. There's life after Ohio. There's life after Ohio State football. Ohio State fans. I mean, Uncle's not like that. Actually, he'd probably be laughing because he knows they're like that.
I know they're like that. Yeah.
Not him, but he knows other people that might You like that? So we always have a choice about our attitude. When we decide to react over circumstances with a negative attitude, such as self-pity, resentment, or bitterness, it hinders God from doing everything he wants us to do in our lives and keeps us from reaching our full potential. That is so true. It's true that sometimes we may have to work harder than others to keep a positive perspective. For instance, you may have to work hard. There might be a lot of negativity around you. There might be people that, if you're around a lot of people that are negative all the time, it's going to be harder to keep that positive perspective. Now, being negative may not seem like a big deal at first, but having a negative attitude will never make others very happy. So how do you fix it? It says in Proverbs 23:7 in the Amplified, it says, as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Being a negative person, you got to start by thinking positive about yourself, thinking about looking at things and looking at yourself in a positive perspective. And that's so important. It's all a matter of perspective. A positive perspective is the result of focusing on the right thing, which is God. When we focus on the problem instead of on God, we miss the perspective of our situation. How does God want you to respond in a difficult circumstance? He doesn't want us to ignore or deny that they exist. He's like, this isn't happening. No, we can't ignore circumstances, can we, at times? He just wants us to acknowledge that he is bigger than the circumstance.
Yes.
And deny the right to let it control us. Maintaining a positive attitude is one of the most powerful ways we can do this, because it's not our circumstances that make us miserable. It's our attitude towards the circumstances. Let me say that one more time. It's not our circumstances that make us miserable. It's our attitude towards the circumstances. Right. No matter what sort of giants we may be facing, the truth is, he who lives on is greater than mighty, and he who lives in us is greater than he that is in the world. It says in 1 John 4:4. So no matter what sort of giants you may be facing, hopefully the New York Giants, that wouldn't be such a big obstacle. Oh, did I say that? Oops, I didn't say that.
Sorry about that.
Forget that offensive line. I could get through that. I could get to the quarterback on that off. Anyway. So, yes. So, if you let him, he will allow you to have the right attitude. Even in difficult times, God will take your problems and work them out for your good and leave you with a testimony of his power and goodness. And some of this stuff I got from Joyce Meyer, so I could give her some credit there and some good points that she made. And I'm in agreement with all of that. So attitude is everything. Having the right perspective, have a good attitude. Again, I'll read, I think I closed our scripture of the week, but basically saying doing everything without grumbling and complaining, having the right attitude, and how important that is. That is our scripture of the week related to sports right here on the 4th and 10 Christian Sports.